Urban philosopher coming at you. Um, About to do an experiment here and report on it. Just made a video, but I'm gonna make another one. I'm going on a water fast. I have not eaten anything. I've just drank water and not eaten zero. I have eaten 0 calories for 6 days now. How you doing, Joseph? Thanks for tuning in, man. Please subscribe to my channel. Um, why am I going on a water fast is what I'm going to touch on first. Um, Water fast is people have been doing water fast for thousands of years. Um, hey, Raw Research Labs, how you doing, man? Thanks for tuning in. Please subscribe to my channel. Um, so I've been on this water fast. This is day 6. Feeling all right. It's about 2 p.m. where I'm at, so afternoon. And I am wanting, I'm a person that likes to do experiments, and so I'm gonna make this video. I'm gonna smoke this in front of you guys. I just have a little roach here. You guys see? I'm not bullshitting you guys. Doesn't go out. So I'm not gonna make a long video here, but and that's proof for you guys that I'm not full of shit. I'm actually doing this. I'm smoking weed on an empty stomach. I haven't eaten in 6 days with the attempt to know, will this mitigate my craving for food, and will this alleviate some of the pain, suffering that I'm feeling as a result of not eating for 6 days. So I feel awesome, by the way, guys. Water fasting has been going. Water fasting is a way to totally cleanse the body. Um, it's also a great way to heal. And the reason why it's a great way to heal is for the fact that after about the first 2 to 3 days of not eating, your body gets depleted of glucose. So when you eat carbohydrates, your body converts the carbohydrates into a sugar called glucose, and that forms what's called your glycogen storage. So your main source of energy, especially when you guys are working out, lifting weights, is your body's going off of glucose. And when your body's going off of glucose, you're not burning fat, right? So your fat storages are a secondary source of fuel. So when you're depleted of glycogen, you're burning straight fat. So that's why the whole idea of intermittent fasting is for you to work out on an empty stomach, because when you're working out, you're working off of you're not working off of carbs, you're working off of fat. When you're doing intermittent fat, or when you're doing a water fasting, you've totally completed your glycogen stores, and your body is now burning fat. So you're in a state of what's called ketosis, right? So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm also doing this because one of the biggest ways to increase the production of human growth hormones is through fasting. The other way is sleeping, which is a de facto form of fasting, and the other way obviously is lifting weights. Um, and human growth hormones are what counteract the aging process. So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. It's a great question. Totally happy to answer. my connection might not be the best. But I'm gonna wrap this up in a little bit here, though. MK677. What is that? I don't even know what that is. So guys, in society, how am I gonna bring this back to MGTOW and everything that I talk about? Because it seems like it's like not on topic, but we're gonna make it on topic. So I'm gonna bring it back to MGTOW with the understanding that wow, it's tough to get up. That much is certain. It is tough to stand up and walk. Alright, I'll definitely do that. Thanks, man. Alright, so we are living in really uncertain times, and now all times are really uncertain. So, but in this, we Arminius, come. You guys, look at my dog. She's pretty awesome. It's a Cane Corso, Italian Mastiff. Arminius, come here. Arminius, come on, come here. Let's go outside. No, she's pretty difficult. She thinks I'm gonna put her in a car. Good girl. Sorry about that. This guy was just got a throwback stitched Ray Allen jersey for $30. Pretty dope. Oh my God. So life is good right now. I really like to know that I have the mental strength to not only survive, which I've proven to myself, but to really thrive in a world that is in such turbulence. And the quality of life that men especially are experiencing has diminished greatly. And I just went through some pretty intense shit, not only with the water fast, but which I definitely gonna make a video on that. I'll make a video of that today. And I wanted just to say that I think it's really important to get outside your comfort zone and to put yourself in really difficult situations that force you to learn skills that you may not have sought out to learn. And I'm learning to get better at, for instance, sitting still. I've been a very agitated person my whole life, and the meditation has really allowed me to practice being present. I don't think I've ever been in a better place in my life. And I think this water fast is really great too. I mean, I can definitely feel my mind is way less aggressive, way less reactive. I have a lot less. I'm not beating myself up as much as I usually do. I'm pretty good at that. And I'm really just grateful for the things that I love and the things that I'm able to do. I can cook a meal for people, and I love to cook for people. I've got this amazing dog. I can take a hike. There's a park right behind my house. And there's just so much good food out there. Well, obviously, I'm going to say that I'm water fasting, but I've access to these great books that I'm reading, like the philosophy book, which I'm about to be done with. It just goes through all the philosophers from Thales of Miletus, who was considered the first philosopher, all the way um, to the contemporaries like Noam Chomsky, Richard Rorty, Francois Lyotard, and Popper, and all those guys, Dan Dennett. So what I basically want to do is I just do the things that I love to throughout my day. Yeah, I love Marcus Aurelius. He's awesome. Meditations was a great book. Hey, if you like Marcus Aurelius, check out Epictetus, Art of Living. Great book. It's a very short book. It's probably one of the best books I've ever read. But back to the water fasting. I'm sorry, you guys obviously know I'm stoned right now, but I'm making this video nonetheless, just to do a live experiment of what happens when you smoke weed on a water fast. So, Jose Mujica, a man I really look up to, is was the former president of Uruguay, which I'll probably be going to at some point later in the year. And he's an atheist, which, sure, no problem. This is a live video, so I'm interacting with people here. He's an atheist. He's a vegan. He's an intellectual philosopher, a writer, a poet, and an ardent criticism of capitalism and globalization, which I've been very critical of. He was in prison for 14 years, most of which were done in solitary confinement. Oh my God, brother, you and me too. Definitely do not like postmodernists either. It's just very arrogant and elitist, and I can't stand it. Pompous. But Jose Mujica was in prison for 14 years, 10 of which were spent in solitary confinement. He was arrested because he was part of an armed rebel group called the Tupamaros, which in the 70s were in opposition to the military dictatorship that was ruling the country of Uruguay at the time. He was robbing banks, and when he was robbing banks, he was robbing them to, obviously to provide funds for his group. But or no, actually, that's not true. He was robbing the banks, and he was taking the financial records and showing the people how they were embezzling money and screwing over the people and basically just stealing. And I'm sure they probably stole money for their cause, but their cause was to overthrow the government. And he knows that he was a young man, and I mean, people make mistakes like robbing banks, but at least he did something good by getting the financial papers to show the people what was really going on to their country. The other thing is, when he got out of prison, he went and he became a minister of agriculture. And then after that, he became president. And he was, part of a guerrilla group. He was a terrorist. so to speak. So when he became president, he legalized marijuana. He allowed gay marriage, allowed abortion. Uruguay has, they have they have comprehensive Medicare, medical whatever the fuck for their people, medical care, and education is paid for by the state. So it's, you're not paying $30,000 a semester to go to school to learn lesbian dance theory. Um, and they're the least corrupt nation in South America. They're also the most atheist, and they're very, very, relatively good laws regarding the environment. It's also a great place to start a business. Very easy to. Um, it's also a country that has very low crime, and they have a very they're not a very materialistic culture. So, and Mujica's been very critical of the U.S. and all the wars and expanding their influence over other countries' affairs. Anyways, he advocates for a minimalistic lifestyle, a lifestyle that is basically stoic in nature, and he commonly references Marcus Aurelius or Seneca or Epictetus or other Stoic thinkers, and he's a big environmentalist, and he has really criticized nations, even the whole, even at the UN meetings that he was at, and has said that if we continue to consume like the way that we do, if the whole world consumed like the average American, scientists concurred that there would need to be 3 planets. So with this man, this is a guy that when he became president, he did not live in the royal palace, even though he could, and he drove a 1987 Beetle, lived in a little farmhouse, didn't live in opulence, didn't change the way he dressed, just was who he was, stood by his values, and did not let the trappings of materialism, even at the highest levels of materialism, alter him from being who he was. So, that's the kind of integrity and that's the kind of mental strength that we should all shoot for. But it's hard because that shit is tantalizing, and we become slaves to our desires if we don't realize that we're acting on them. So, doing things like the water fasting, withholding desire, forcing oneself to be, to censor himself, to hold back on what he wants to do, in something like food that we're used to every single day. It's very tough. It's very tough. And that's what MGTOW really is, should be about. It's like being stoic, choosing the hard road, choosing the unpaved road, not choosing the path that was, put for us. I think that's a big mistake. I think that's why people lose their soul, because they don't follow who they really are. They just succumb to the prescribed vision of life that they're given to them by their parents, by their society, or whatever. And that's a shame. Um, I mean, I could go on and on about all this stuff, but what I've learned here is just how addicted I am just to like patterns. I eat the same foods in the same quantities in the same week, and I go to the same places, and it's like we just can't. We like we need to never allow ourselves we need to never succumb to comfort. We need to always remain vigilant that we do not become, we do not allow ourselves to stop growing because we've gotten comfortable. I think that's what stops people from growing, is that they've gotten comfortable. We need to guard against that. The comfort allows us to compromise our integrity. It allows us to make decisions based on prioritizing greed and self gain over virtue, honor, what is right, what's the truth, and one of these philosophers in this book, actually, I'll read this real quick. Talks about the Jean-Francois Lyotard wrote that knowledge, he says, computer technology has changed information into, sorry. Oh, by the way, I'm going to be leaving in like 15 minutes. Oh, cool. Right on. Making my YouTube channel, YouTube video, man. Getting views. Arminius. Come on. Come here. Arminius. Come on. Whatever, let her do what she wants to do. So Jean-Francois Lyotard says that computer technology has changed knowledge into information that is owned by large corporations and stored in vast databases, and that this information is judged by its commercial value, not by its truth. Therefore, knowledge is to be produced, to be sold. Now, of course, he doesn't agree with this. Of course, he has an advocate for this. He says that, and he has a great prognostication here, because come here. Jesus. Stubborn mastiff. He says that he has a great prognostication about the future because he died in 1998. So consider that. That's almost, that is 20 years ago. He says, Lyotard says that this mercantilization of knowledge, which is when knowledge has become Knowledge is being judged not in terms of how true it is, but in terms of how well it serves certain ends. When we cease to ask questions about knowledge, such as, is it true, and start asking questions such as, how can this be sold, knowledge becomes a commodity. Lyotard is concerned that once this happens, private corporations may begin to seek to control the flow of knowledge and decide who can access what types of knowledge and when. And what just happened? The net neutrality bill. The net neutrality bill of 2018 that just was passed. So think about that. Remain vigilant. We need to remain informed, and we need to remain. We need to never give in to comfort. So that is the slow decay into death. I'm out.